Now that you've converted your system to Series P, you're ready to install a Series P filter pack. Use of a Series P filter pack better simulates the design of a Series I full-scale system. It's very important to use a Series P filter pack to collect accurate scale-up data. Let's tune in with Kira as she shows us how to install a Series P filter pack. Before you install your Series P filter pack, be sure you have all the parts and tools necessary. First, make sure that you have 19 membrane trays. You should have 9 diverter trays and 10 normal trays. In addition, you should have 20 outer spacers, 20 inner retainer rings, the upper pressure plate assembly, 2 alignment dowels, 1 permeate piping cap, the center nut, the Series P center washers, 20 outer O-rings, and 20 inner O-rings. You should also have 16 Series P perimeter bolts and washers. Always use new perimeter bolts when installing a Series P filter pack. Use of old or used bolts will increase the risk of broken bolts during operation of the VSET. You will also need the following tools: 1/2-inch socket wrench and a 1/2-inch open-ended wrench to install the shipping bar, 45 foot-pound torque wrench with a 5/8-inch socket, 7/8-inch open-ended wrench, air ratchet, striking wrench, and dead blow hammer. I'm going to assist Kira in the installation of the Series P filter pack. The first step is to install the alignment dowels. The alignment dowels are used to help you center all the trays and outer retainer rings properly. Install the alignment dowels at the 3 and 9 o'clock positions. They do not have to be fully threaded and will be more easily removed if you only thread them several turns. They should be threaded lightly by hand into the lower pressure plate. Next, install the cap on the permeate piping. This will protect the threads on the permeate piping during assembly. You are now ready to begin the assembly of the trays and retainer rings. First, we'll install an outer retainer ring and outer O-ring. Stretch the O-ring for proper fit. Install the inner retainer ring and O-ring as a set. Pre-install the O-ring on the retainer. Be sure that the inner O-ring and inner retainer ring are concentric with the center shaft. It is very important to center these parts as accurately as possible. You are now ready for the first membrane tray, which should be a regular tray with 2 open holes. The membrane trays have a top and a bottom side. The concave part of the grommet is the bottom and should be facing downward. Repeat this procedure until the filter pack is fully stacked. Outer retainer ring, outer O-ring, inner retainer and O-ring assembly. Be sure it's concentric with the previous installation and with the center shaft. The next tray installed will be a diverter tray with a plugged grommet. These will alternate every other tray, and every other diverter tray will alternate the grommet position from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. We'll continue to repeat this procedure until we have installed all 19 trays. Be sure to refer to the written manual for a diagram illustrating the alternation of trays. If you stacked your membrane properly, you should have a final tray that is a regular tray with 2 open holes at the 3 and 9 o'clock positions. Once you've installed the final tray, make sure you install the final retainer rings and O-rings as well. Now that you've fully stacked the Series P membrane trays, you're ready to put on the upper pressure plate assembly. Using the alignment dowels, make sure you slide on the upper pressure plate assembly smoothly and carefully. At this point, you'll need to install the center nut and the small flat washer. If necessary, apply a minor amount of anti-seize to the threads of the center nut. Using the striking wrench, bring down the center nut as much as possible to pre-compress the filter pack. Doing so will allow you to install the first perimeter bolts. Once the perimeter bolts are able to reach the threads on the lower pressure plate, Install all of the free spaces for perimeter bolts, excluding the 2 holes that are occupied by alignment dowels. Using the dead blow hammer, make sure the perimeter bolts are all the way to the base of the lower pressure plate. You can now use the air ratchet to spin the perimeter bolts down. This will allow you to remove the alignment dowels and install the last 2 perimeter bolts. In order to bring the weight down evenly, it is important to alternate sides as you tighten the perimeter bolts. Tighten every 5th bolt in order to have an even torquing pattern. Remove the center nut so that you can install the large Series P flat washer. With the 16 perimeter bolts fully installed and the center nut tightened, you'll now need to check the torque on all of the perimeter bolts. The torque on the perimeter bolts needs to be set to 45 foot-pounds. They should be torqued in a star pattern alternating every 5th bolt. Set your torque wrench to 45 foot-pounds. Choose a starting bolt. Torque it until it clicks, count off 5 bolts and repeat the process. Counting every 5 bolts will ensure that you torque all bolts under even pressure. Failure to fully torque your perimeter bolts can result in a loss of your membrane filter pack. After torquing the bolts to 45 foot-pounds, be sure you double check that the center nut is fully tightened. Your filter pack is now complete. Install the amplitude vibration sticker provided and reinstall the upper plumbing. Install the permeate line at the permeate channel, which is the center channel coming out of the VSEP filter pack, not the wishbone assembly, which is the feed line. It's very important to get the right line into the right channel. The feed line should be installed on the wishbone assembly just behind the permeate line. The 45 foot-pounds of torque on the filter pack perimeter bolts needs to be maintained at all times. The system will settle over time, and after approximately 1 hour of operation, you will need to recheck the torque. After that, you should recheck the torque approximately once a day for the first week of operation. At that point, you can probably check the torque approximately once a week and have no troubles. Install the green clamp at the top of the filter pack to separate the permeate and feed hose so they don't rub together. If they rub together, this can cause a ruptured hose. Using your 1/2 inch open-ended wrench, tighten the clamp until it's secure. Your filter pack is now fully assembled and ready for use. You've installed your Series P filter pack and you're ready to start up on water.